to bring in Mike Paul. He's an expert on public relations, crisis management, and a man who has spent 25 years helping celebrities and athletes save their careers and reputations. Mike, thank you very much for joining us. Let's start with your reaction to how this has all played out and what you thought of Ryan Lochte's interview.
Well, thanks for having me. Just want to make clear that some people think that Ryan Lochte is my client because I've been offering commentary, but he's not my client. I've worked with other professional athletes who've been sadly in similar situations. I'd give him a C- overall for how he's handled this thus far. I don't think he's been fully truthful. Over-exaggerated, I'm not even sure if that's a word, as though some exaggeration is okay. It's not okay. If he were my client, one of the things that I'd be telling him is that I care about you and I have to give you some tough love and be prepared for it because it's going to be direct. There are no ifs and buts in a true apology. An apology is beyond words. It's about changing your heart, to have a repentant heart, to feel sorry for others, not yourself first. I haven't heard an apology, for example, to the gas station owner where this incident happened, where he not only urinated in the wrong place, kicked down a door, but ripped down an advertising sign that certainly deserves damages. I haven't heard that at all. I've heard more about his fans, his family, himself, his teammates. He has to think about all the stakeholders, and the most important stakeholders. He needs to be able to look at all of them and categorize them with priority to make sure that he's hitting these marks with a changed heart and not just with words.
And those are excellent points. What about the damage done now to himself? Sponsorship money is, of course, vital for these kinds of athletes, for their continued training, for their lifestyle. Is he damaged goods? Is he beyond repair, do you think? Where is he?
Well, you heard some strong statements, even with your piece that you just put together before this interview, with the USOC, saying some things that are at least telegraphing that there's probably going to be some sanctions against him. And it makes sense. Again, if he were my client, I'd be counseling him. Do you think the USOC is going to be able to allow you to get away with this? If other athletes do similar, there'd be no penalty whatsoever. There's probably going to be sanctions. The same with your sponsors. You have major sponsors. You have sponsors like Polo Ralph Lauren and Speedo, for example, two of your biggest. Do you think that they feel comfortable putting an ad on TV now with your face in it when people are calling you names like Swim Shady and Lockheed Monster? Those are things that are not trustworthy. The ultimate currency that he's trying to keep is trust. And that's something that he needs to understand. And as a 32-year-old man, who some people are still calling him a kid, he's not a kid.
No, he's
By the way, he has a lot of international travel experience and a lot of Olympic experience, including someone on his own team who should have been a clear example to not do the things he's done.
Right, this was not a young kid at his first Olympics. In your experience, when looking at the likes of disgraced athletes like Marion Jones and Lance Armstrong, when you see those kind of issues, those are doping, do you think the public is actually more forgiving of something, say, more serious, like those athletes have been through, versus an embellishment, a lie, over-exaggeration, however you characterize it? Do you think actually the public is harder on somebody like a Lochte?
I think at times they are, because they expect more maturity. They expect better of him. They say things like a world-class athlete knows better. To be at the top of your game, it includes having good behavior. It includes understanding what's important to branding and reputation, and not just the law. If you're arrested and if you have a major fine you have to pay, then you need to be leaning on the advice of an attorney. I think that's extremely important in those two situations. But in this situation, this is much more about branding. This is much more about the future. This is not only about your own brand, but the brand of the United States of America and the brand of an entire country who hosted the games that with your words you labeled as being a part of the problem, and they were not a part of the problem at all.
Right. We tend to sometimes think this is just a minor offense. What's the big deal? You summarized it very well. Mike Paul, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks so much, Mark.